Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on mysterious and weird true stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 256, written by Anonymous, my unknown friend. I was at a gathering in this famous themed restaurant, and I met all my friends there, after so long due to the current world event. But here's the thing. I also met this man who claimed to be my oldest friend and that we met regularly. Firstly, I have no male friends because I went to an all-girls school. Secondly, I have like 3 friends. I think I would remember a 4th one who I apparently meet regularly. Most of my friends were like, yeah, don't you remember him? I thought these idiots were pranking me, so I dismissed it. But then this dude starts talking about my life at present and assuring me that everything will be okay. Mind you, this is a personal incident. I've talked to no one about it. This freaks me out and I go home, saying that I'm feeling a bit nauseous, and just rummage through my things, hoping to find this man anywhere. Nope. And then I get a text. This man sends me a photo with my identity card from back in 2017, saying crap like, whoops, someone has a bad memory. Now this short-circuited my brain. Pretty sure he was never my friend. But how the hell did he get my identity card? Case file number 257, written by kibufox, a couple echoing through Spacetime. Now with almost all these glitches, it's one person noticing something and it makes them go, that's odd. This, however, didn't happen to just one person. It happened to 2 people, myself and a friend. So some short backstory, really simple stuff. I needed coffee creamer and some other stuff from the store. Friend decided to walk over with me, taking a break from the mind-numbingly hard game he'd been playing. All good. We crossed the street and were walking up towards the store when something curious happened. I don't know what about these people stood out to us, but we stepped aside to let a man and a woman pass us. They turned and went into this apartment building besides us. The woman stopped for a moment, bending over to pick up something she dropped before she headed inside. Friend and I shared a glance and even said, that felt odd for some reason, with him noting that he thought he knew them but couldn't really place it. We then continued our walk. The path to the store is about a block, give or take. We tend to walk pretty quickly, which will be relevant later. It took us maybe 5 minutes, talking and walking, to get to the next street corner. That's where the strangeness started, well above and beyond the weird feeling about the pair. As we reached the other side, that same man and woman seemed to practically appear from nowhere off to our right and turned to cross the road. By appearance, I mean 1 second they weren't there, the next they were. My friend and I stopped, looking at each other, and then watched them walk down the sidewalk. We then watched as, just like before, the woman dropped something, bent over and picked it up, and headed inside. Every motion is the exact same from the first time we intersected them, in their path. We tried rationalizing it, but couldn't really come up with anything. For example, they didn't come out and run past us to the store. To go around the block the other way wouldn't have allowed them to be on the same road, in front of us. They didn't step out of a car, and they didn't take a bus just to repeat their walk. It was, in short, like they were stuck in some sort of time loop, or we were outside of time for that moment. Try as I might, I cannot come up with a reasonable explanation of this incident. If you're enjoying this video, consider giving it a like. Now on to the next story. Case file number 258, written by SawmillTurtle. I have a brother who couldn't possibly have been born. Well, this glitch certainly overlaps with my childhood, but a lot of this account deals with events that have unfolded over the last couple of years, which involve supposed events from my childhood that didn't happen. These events, as you will see, were not things that I would be able to remember incorrectly, and even if that weren't the case, my own sister remembers things the same way I do. Also, I will be changing the names of involved parties, like my siblings. These are names that they'd recognize, but no one else will, for privacy and all that, you understand. 2019. My mother died of an unexpected heart attack in her bedroom while living with my sister in Virginia. It was tragic and devastated all of us. She was all we had in the world other than each other. As my sister Rose said a year after her passing, we're all alone now. After she died, the process of going through her things began. My sister Lindy thankfully handled all of that, as well as the process of Mom's cremation. She's an incredibly strong person. When Mom's phone was turned on and accessed, there was someone listed within that no one knew. We'll call him Beard, for lack of anything more creative coming to mind. Who was this person? The messages seemed to indicate that he was none other than a son that Mom had given up for adoption in 1994. Say what? 1994. According to Beard, Mom was secretly taken by a relative to the hospital, where she gave birth to him and immediately gave him up for a better life. He was adopted straight away, and no mention was ever made of him. No one even knew he existed until we went through Mom's phone. Here's the problem with this. I would have remembered her being pregnant. I was just shy of 12 years old when he was born. My birthday was only days away. I was old enough by that point to understand the birds and the bees and signs of pregnancy, considering that I had 4 younger siblings by that point and had seen her pregnant multiple times. There are certain things that would have stuck out to me. It's not a simple matter of wearing baggy clothes to hide a protruding belly. Pregnant women have tells, like the way they'll carefully ease their way into a sitting position, or the way they'll often lovingly caress their bellies in spite of themselves. There's also the swelling bosoms, and the water retention, all of it. Somehow I overlooked all of this? And my sister Lindy, who otherwise has no memory of Mom being pregnant at this time, also overlooked it? I'm telling you, this never happened. But it did. My mother gave birth to a son in 1994, somehow, without any of us being the wiser, and shipped him off. How? 1995. My mother gives birth to my sister Rose and keeps her, even though we were even less financially secure at this point than we were previously. Why keep one and surrender the other? 2021, or earlier this week. 2 years now since Mom died, and a year since I was told about Beard by my sister Rose. Beard has added several family members on Facebook, so Facebook keeps suggesting him to me as people you may know. No, I'm not interested. Suggested again, not interested. Again, over and over and over again. Finally, I grew tired of avoiding the subject. This whole thing reeks of horse manure, but I work it out in my head like so. If this man is a con man, why would he pick my mother of all people? My mother was nobody to everyone but the people who loved her. She was not a celebrity, former or current. She was not a YouTuber. She did not run a blog. She did not make appearances on the local news for anything. She kept a normal, completely low profile because she was rather private. She was also broke, so if he's running a scam, why pick her? She has nothing to give. Even if he was a con man trying to con someone with nothing, she's been dead for 2 years. He either believes his own con, is playing the long game for some bizarre reason, or he's the real deal. I took a page from Sherlock Holmes and eliminated everything else, and the conclusion that I came to is that he's the real deal. The most convincing piece of evidence is my own mother. She never dismissed him or told him he was mistaken. She acknowledged it. There's no way someone would simply be mistaken about carrying a child for 9 months and then giving it up. That's not a, wow, I don't remember doing that kind of situation. So I talked with him. This brother I never had before, who never existed. He said he used Ancestry to trace his origins, and that's how he found us. We spoke on the phone for 3 hours, and I sincerely believe him to the point that I call him my brother now. But the problem here is the same. It's the pregnancy that never happened, that couldn't have happened, that no one ever saw. That would have been almost impossible to hide. Give birth in secret? Sure, I guess. His provided day of birth was a Monday, so I was in school. Okay. But the 9 months that preceded it? I'm to believe that none of us, not one of us, saw anything? No. I was speaking with my uncle about his own son the day before last, and I told him that the boy is only 6 years old, but even he would know a pregnant woman if he saw one. He wouldn't be able to tell you how the baby got there, but he'd be able to say, that woman has a baby in her tummy. So when I was almost 12, I was, more oblivious than a 6-year-old? That's nice. No, this never happened. Except we've got some weird Mandela effect or glitch in the Matrix event, and now it did. Now I have a brother who didn't exist before and couldn't have. Instead of considering our clan as 6 in number, now we consider it 7. 7. I mean, it really boggles the mind. Conclusion. Some of you may be incredulous. Some of you may dismiss this as a mistake, or simply say that my mom was especially good at hiding things. That's fine. If I could get every single person to believe every single word that I say, no matter what it is, I'd have a better success rate than Jesus. Even he couldn't do that, so I expect some disbelief. All I can say is that, to those of us in the family, those of us who were around her every day of our childhoods and a large portion of our adult lives, this could not have happened. Welcome to the family, Beard. I don't know how you came to be one of us, but you are. Regardless of everything else, you are one of us. Bonus file, written by Throwaway 4737391, Supernatural Forces in New Mexico. When I was a kid, I lived with my grandma for a while, and her house was an extremely weird place. The house was dome-shaped and had some very absurd architectural designs. A 15-foot deep hole in the backyard, a staircase leading down to nowhere, the house flooding for no reason. The whole place just had a surreal vibe. This house was right outside the Navajo Reservation in a very isolated part of New Mexico, though we did have 2 neighbors who built ranches up there recently. Super rich old people. My grandma's place was built sometime in the 19th century. According to my grandma, it was originally built to treat tuberculosis patients when TB was really bad in New Mexico. I was pretty young, but I'll never forget what I saw up there. The shower had a small round window that looked into the living room. I thought that was cool as I would wave to my grandma while showering, but I quickly became afraid of it. One day, me and my grandma were playing cards in the living room, and a large handprint appeared on the shower window. I pointed to it, and this freaked out even my grandma, who promptly got up and saged the place. This couldn't have been my handprint, as I was a little kid, and this handprint was huge and lanky. My second experience. The house had an upstairs level, but it only covered half the ceiling. Think of an indoor balcony. This is where me and my grandma would sleep, as the bathroom was their only actual room in the house. One night, I had a dream that an invisible force had picked me up and thrown me off the upstairs level, which was a big fear of mine. I woke up before I hit the ground, and guess where I was? Laying on the first floor, underneath the edge of the upstairs level. It would have been a pretty big fall, but I had no pain. Another experience. I was out in the backyard playing, and our swing started swinging very fast and violently. There was no wind, and my grandma's horses became extremely spooked before this even started happening, and were trying to escape their pen. I had countless other paranormal experiences here, but these were the ones that stood out to me.